keeping this secret for so long.
Do you remember what Jay-Z said to you? Because it's such a special call to get.
It's crazy because I was in the middle of a workout. I remember that after the call, I just did like 100 pull-ups.
They say every superstar has that one defining moment, the one performance that cements them forever. For Bad Bunny, that moment hasn't even happened yet, but the world is already losing its mind over it. Before the stadium lights, before the petitions, before the headlines screaming Super Bowl scandal, there was just Benito, a shy kid from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. Quiet, observant, working the checkout line at his local grocery store. His coworkers say he used to hum melodies between customers. Nobody thought much of it. But late at night, when everyone else was asleep, he'd upload songs to SoundCloud under the name Bad Bunny, a name born from a childhood photo where he looked furious wearing bunny ears, equal parts adorable and rebellious.
That was the NFL's way of making it very official that Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny will headline the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show.
He wasn't rich. He didn't have industry connections. What he had was a cracked laptop, a cheap mic, and an imagination that refused to fit into neat boxes. While most artists followed formulas, Bad Bunny made soundtracks for Misfits. He blended reggaeton, trap, and emo introspection, writing about heartbreak, struggle, and island pride. But in his own accent, his own slang, unapologetically Puerto Rican. At first, the world didn't know what to do with him. Radio stations said his voice was too weird. Labels said Latin trap would never break through. But social media had other plans.
Y'all heard of the controversy when Bad Bunny was announced as this year's Super Bowl halftime performer. There are concerns the Puerto Rican artist isn't exactly in love with the president, stopped doing shows.
One viral song led to another, and suddenly the kid from the grocery store was performing for crowds that knew every word. His message was simple: I don't change to fit in. I make the world bend toward me. The first big spark came when he dropped Soy Peor, a brooding anthem about self-acceptance and heartbreak. It hit millions of plays overnight. Then came collaborations with J Balvin and Cardi B, each one bigger than the last. His style? A mix of streetwear, painted nails, and gender-fluid fashion that confused some and inspired millions. He wasn't just singing. He was redefining what Latin masculinity could look like. And while the hits kept coming, Mia, I Like It, La Canción, Bad Bunny didn't chase Hollywood polish.
Anyway, he announced that he's headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. But Homeland Security advisor Corey Lewandowski just told conservative podcaster Benny Johnson who else will be too.
He brought Puerto Rico with him everywhere he went. His accent, his slang, his pride. He'd perform in skirts, speak out against corruption, and call out inequality. When earthquakes devastated the island, he didn't hide behind PR statements. He used his music to fundraise and amplify voices. He was becoming more than an artist. He was turning into a cultural force. By 2020, the world officially belonged to Bad Bunny. He was Spotify's most streamed artist for 3 years straight, with billions of plays. He performed at WrestleMania, co-hosted Saturday Night Live, and made El Último Tour del Mundo, the first all-Spanish album to hit #1. One on the Billboard 200. Think about that. All Spanish, no translation, and still #1 in the world. But even as the trophies piled up, the haters never disappeared.
NFL. These are the same people that have to have end racism and all this stuff. This is, to me, the what of all the people that you could pick, why Bad Bunny? I think this is also an F you to Donald Trump. An F you to Donald Trump.
Every boundary he broke seemed to make someone uncomfortable. When he wore drag in his Yo Perreo Sola video, conservatives clutched their pearls. When he kissed a male dancer on stage, right-wing pundits called it provocative. When he spoke out about Puerto Rican politics, others said he should stick to music. He didn't. He doubled down. Because for him, art wasn't just rhythm, it was resistance. Fast forward to 2025. The NFL was searching for its next halftime performer. After years of safe choices, they wanted global, young, unpredictable. Someone who represented where pop culture was going, not where it had been. Apple Music and Rock Nation, who co-produced the show, reportedly pushed for one name above all others: Bad Bunny. When the announcement dropped, it felt historic.
On a beachside goalpost and dropped the news. He's taking over the Apple Music Super Bowl 60 halftime show.
I'm happy. That's the vibe.
What can we expect? Fans on their feet and dancing like John Hamm, Taylor Swift, Austin Butler, Javier Bardem, and Penelope.
Bad Bunny to headline the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram exploded. Fans screamed, cried, celebrated. Finally, they said, representation at the biggest event in America. For millions, it wasn't just about a concert. It was a cultural victory. But within hours, the cheers turned into chaos. A wave of backlash flooded social media. Comment sections filled with anger. Why him? He doesn't even sing in English. This is the Super Bowl, not Telemundo. What started as excitement turned into a digital war. Cable hosts ranted about politics in entertainment.
The move has drawn the ire, though, of some conservatives online. Many are attacking Bad Bunny over his criticism of ICE and President Trump, as well as most of his songs not being performed in English. We're going to get some clarification on that.
Online petitions demanded the NFL replace him with someone more American. Even politicians weighed in. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the choice terrible and said the league should have gone with a country singer instead. The subtext wasn't subtle. A Spanish-speaking Puerto Rican headlining America's most watched show was somehow controversial. Suddenly, the halftime show wasn't just a gig. It was a referendum on what American even means. For Bad Bunny's fans, the outrage felt personal. They flooded the internet with messages of love and pride. He earned this, they said. This is bigger than language. It's about belonging. Others pointed out the hypocrisy. The NFL celebrates diversity in ads, but panics when it's center stage. And while the debate raged, Bad Bunny stayed cool as ever. He didn't issue long statements or fight online. Instead, he went on Saturday Night Live and joked, "You have 4 months to learn Spanish." The crowd roared. It was a perfect Bad Bunny moment. Witty, self-aware, and proud. But online, the drama kept spiraling. Fake quotes began circulating. AI-generated posts claiming celebrities had slammed him. One viral screenshot said Carlos Santana called the pick a disgrace. Another showed NFL players allegedly protesting the choice. None of it was true. Fact checkers debunked them, but by then, the lies had gone viral. The internet was so eager for drama, it started inventing some. Then came the counter moves. Conservative groups floated ideas for an alternative halftime show. Hashtags like #boycott Super Bowl trended for days. On the other side, Latin Twitter was celebrating like it was the World Cup. For every angry comment, 10 people posted flags, pride, and playlists. The divide was massive.
There are concerns out there that he may turn the halftime show into some sort of political stunt, and therefore, change.org, there is a petition you can go sign to get rid of Bad Bunny and bring in a king.
Two Americas clashing over one artist. But maybe that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because underneath all the noise, there's something deeper happening. Bad Bunny represents the new face of global pop. Borderless, bilingual, unapologetic. And that scares people who built their identity on a narrower version of what mainstream looks like. Still, it wasn't all hate. Cultural leaders, journalists, and even fellow musicians spoke up in his defense. One Latina columnist wrote, "Music doesn't need translation. It needs open ears." That line hit hard. It started showing up everywhere, from think pieces to TikToks. Slowly, the narrative shifted. People began asking, why does Spanish music bother some Americans so much? It's a fair question. Because Bad Bunny isn't the first Latin artist to touch the Super Bowl stage. Shakira, J-Lo, and others have shared it before. But he's the first to headline solo, singing primarily in Spanish. This isn't a guest slot, it's ownership. And ownership changes everything. Right now, he's rehearsing somewhere, planning a show that could redefine what mainstream even means. Rumors say it'll mix reggaeton, trap, salsa, and messages about unity. Others say he's bringing surprise guests. Nothing confirmed, but one thing's for sure, he knows the stakes. The world will be watching, waiting to see if this becomes a disaster or a cultural milestone. And that's where we are, the calm before the lights. It's kind of poetic, isn't it? A kid who once bagged groceries in Puerto Rico is about to perform in front of hundreds of millions of viewers. The same accent that critics mocked will echo through a stadium built on American football, the most American thing there is.
Will ICE have enforcement at the Super Bowl for the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show?
Benny, there is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally, not the Super Bowl and nowhere else. We will find you, we will apprehend you, we will put you in a detention facility.
You can't script symbolism like that. But here's the thing about Bad Bunny. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need America's approval to feel worthy. He's already conquered the world his way, with authenticity, with pride, with rhythm. So what happens when he finally takes that stage? Will the critics double down? Will the haters admit they misjudged him? Or will the music drown it all out? Because if history tells us anything, it's this. Bad Bunny always turns noise into art. He's done it before, turning rejection into revolution. Maybe he'll do it again. Maybe this halftime show will be the moment America finally realizes that the world no longer revolves around English lyrics. Maybe it's time for a new definition of mainstream. But we won't know until those lights go down and the first beat drops. Imagine it, the crowd roaring, the screens flashing, and Bad Bunny stepping out in a look that makes the internet combust within seconds. Maybe he'll open with Titi Me Pregunto, that booming beat shaking every seat in the stadium. Maybe he'll pause mid-show and deliver a quiet message about unity, about pride. Or maybe he'll just let the music speak for itself. Either way, when that performance ends, people will be talking. Not just about the songs, but about what the moment meant. Because for all the controversy, all the noise, all the think pieces, there's something undeniably powerful about this. A Puerto Rican artist, once told he'd never make it mainstream, now standing at the center of American pop culture. It's poetic justice. It's history in real time. And whether you love him or roll your eyes at him, you have to admit, he's already changed the game. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't translate himself to be understood. He made the world come to him. So when that spotlight hits in February, it won't just be about a performance. It'll be about a promise. A promise that voices once kept to the margins now belong in the center. A promise that culture moves forward, even when people fight to keep it still. And maybe, just maybe, the real story won't be about outrage or politics or language, but about evolution. About how music, like identity, refuses to stay in one box. Because at the end of the day, the Super Bowl isn't just a show, it's a mirror. And what we see in that mirror depends on what we're ready to face. So here's the question, the one we'll all be asking when that final note fades. Will this be remembered as the year the NFL went too far, or the year it finally caught up? Either way, Bad Bunny has already won. He turned controversy into conversation, resistance into rhythm, and judgment into joy. And that's what legends do. Because in the end, history doesn't remember the noise. It remembers the notes that cut through it. And if you've been paying attention, you know exactly whose beat that is. So what do you think? Will the world erupt in outrage, or will we all be dancing when the beat drops? If you've got a prediction, drop it in the comments below. And if you loved this deep dive, hit that subscribe button and join the Starside Chatter fam.